Hello Booktube. One of the 5,000 or so tags that I've been tagged in by Steve Donahue is the Midyear book Freakout tag. As it's mid-year, and as I'm a book person, I thought this would be a good one to use to get back into filming, get my channel back on the road, going somewhere. So there's going to be a series of videos, I'm guessing, on this channel, which are mostly going to be tag videos. It's something like the About a Book tags or the Tagathon that I seem to be caught in. I have about 3 months worth of tags to catch up on. Some of them are really good, so I'm kind of looking forward to it. And yeah, so let me not waste any more time, let me get started with this. So this is the best book that you've read so far in 2018. And I was really quite surprised to discover that this book was less than 6 months ago, because I feel that I read it a year and 6 months ago. But it is Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel. This one is hands down my favorite book of the year still. I absolutely loved it. I have the sequel on my shelf. I haven't got to it yet, but soon it's going to happen. The best sequel that you've read so far is then going to be Dark Fire by C.J. Sansom. I am loving this series. I've only read the first 2, but I have 3 to 5 on my shelf as well that are still good to go. But I'm saving them when I need a big pick-me-up. So it says a new release you haven't read yet, but want to. Ah, folks, there are so many new releases I would love to read. In fact, all of them that you guys have mentioned in the last couple of months. I don't buy new releases. They are ridiculously expensive here. And as I don't generally read the books that I've just bought, I tend to use them as bribery to get through the books that I've had on my shelf for a while and no longer want to read or kind of forgotten about. Don't worry, I still read them. It's a long story. So I tend to leave those behind because I really want to get through my old TBR pile. And yeah, so by the time I do get to them, I could buy them for a third, if not a quarter of the price that they go for when they're new. So I just buy them then. Plus it also helps because once the hype has, died down a bit, I tend to get a more realistic opinion of the books. So I don't go in with this hyped idea that it's going to be fantabulous. Number 4, my most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So this kind of goes back to the I don't have any new releases on my shelves. I don't buy new releases unless it is a book in a series that I am dying to get to. And unfortunately, my answer to this question is I don't have one anymore. I was really looking forward to The Burning White by Brent Weeks. It's supposed to be the last in his Lightbringer series. And I read the last one in 2016 and have been reading ever since. So apparently the release date is now fall next year and not this year. How disappointing. Number 5, my biggest disappointment. Oh, I've had quite a few of these. The first one that comes to mind is Tender as the Night by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I mean, it's F. Scott Fitzgerald. It should have been fabulous. But this book, it killed me to read. It took me over a month to read it. And I mean, it's not that big. And it was just, yeah. I didn't like the characters. I felt that he was trying to get sympathy for his own actions because the main character in the story really mirrors his own life a lot. So does the main character's wife, and I feel he did a rather shoddy job of that. Then I've also got the James Bond series, which I was really disappointed with. I was expecting some light, fun, action reading, not some horribly offensive, treatment of women. But my biggest disappointment of the year has to be the prescribed literature that I have to teach. And the reason why it's the biggest disappointment is that next year I will be reading it again, and the year after that I'll be reading it again, and the year after that I will be reading it again. In fact, I could be reading them every year for the next 10 years until the government decides to change the syllabus again, which could not be soon enough as far as I'm concerned with those books. My biggest surprise would be Cry the Beloved Country, and I don't know why I didn't get it down because it's just up there, but I really, really enjoyed that. And I had the idea that this was going to be a very one-sided opinion to the situation in South Africa, whereas it was actually rather fair. Well, it showed more than one side, let's put it that way. And the language was absolutely stunning. I was under the impression that it was a book that was popular because of the message and not because of the writing. And it was good for all of them. Then number 7, favorite new author. Debut or new to you? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to start sounding like a bit like of a stuck record here. So Hilary Mantel. But even then, is she really one of my new favorite authors? I've read a grand total of 1 book by her. So can I really say that she is my new favorite author? I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed the 1 book I read by Philippa Gregory. Is she a new favorite author? It's hard to tell these things with 1 book. I haven't read many serials this year. Especially, well, none by new authors other than the N.K. Jemisin one, and I don't think I chose her best series. Number 8, newest fictional crush. Okay, so I am, okay, I'm a sapiosexual. In other words, the part that I find of somebody the most attractive and sexy is their brain. So, Thomas Cromwell. Man, the character that she created was just... I would love to meet that guy. I have a funny feeling that Thomas Cromwell in real life was probably not as amazing as he was in here, but if I could meet this one, he'd be mine. Number 9, newest favorite character. And I'm also going to bring out a repeat book here, and I'm going to go with Jack Barrack. He was the new character that came in this one of Matthew Shardlake, and I really liked this guy. He was foul-mouthed and rude and crude, but he was not an idiot, and I really liked that with him. But then, yeah, I've had 1 book with him, so don't know if he's going to remain a favorite. A book that made me cry. Okay, so I haven't finished this yet. This is a autobiography memoir by Mark Boucher. He was South Africa's wicketkeeper in cricket, a sport that probably most of you don't really know about. I suppose the simplest I can go is baseball. Not that I know anything about baseball really to make a comparison. But in the story he spoke about Hansie Cronje's funeral. Now Hansie Cronje was a disgraced cricket captain of our national side, and he spoke about Hansie's wife and what happened, and my mom was actually reading that part to me because I was busy doing stuff with my hands and I couldn't read and do it at the same time, and my mom started to get a bit tearful, and then I got tearful because my mom was tearful. But it was a very sad situation. The whole thing was regrettable. His actions, everybody's actions, yeah. But the funeral, I mean, it must have been very hard for that woman. Number 11, a book that made me happy, and for this one I'm going for Recipes of Love and Murder, for Love and Murder by Sally Andrew, and I really enjoyed this one. It was a South African cozy mystery story, and this one just had the right combination of enough South Africanisms in it, and descriptions and food and everything else to really just kind of feel like home. But the sequel, I felt I had too much of that, not enough story. But this one I really enjoyed. It was fun. Number 12, favorite book to film adaptation you saw this year. I have seen 1 movie this year, that is Cobra Kai. They did not make a book of it. I am not really a movie watching person. I find it, I don't know, I just prefer to read the book, and once I've read the book I don't want the movie to then wreck my version of it. Number 13, favorite video you've done this year. I went looking through the list and I can't say any really stand out, although I must admit that I'm rather shocked and a little, somebody disliked my bookshelf tour. It's like, were they offended by my choice? Don't worry, I'm not taking it personally in the slightest. I actually feel like I've got a badge of honor. But the video that I like the most that I've done is probably the Not Booktube tag, and the reason for that is that I asked my subscribers who don't have channels to comment and answer the questions as well, and I really enjoyed getting to know my subscribers who are not booktubers, who they're just book people. Number 14, the most beautiful book I've bought this year is going to be this one, if my cat doesn't stick wet footprints all over it, because then it's going to go downhill very quick. I got the entire series, well, except for Shepherd's Crown. That is the last one. Yo, this is what happens when you make movies late at night. They're all gorgeous. They've got this beautiful brass foil, and the picture that is done, and it's not actually black and white as it looks. It's a slight maroon, well, purplish in there as well. So it really looks gorgeous. They're the birthday editions, apparently, of the Tiffany Aching series. Absolutely enjoy them. Oh wow, if you just saw what my page looked like, my cat really has wet feet. Yeah. And then number 15, what books do I need to read by the end of the year? Okay, the word need, I think everybody's pointed out that they don't need to read anything. But what I would like to do is get my old TBR pile down. I have 2 TBR piles. The first one is the books that I've had on my shelf for more than 3 years, and currently that one is sitting at about 50 books. So that one is doable, but obviously I don't just want to read those. I like having the bribery of new books that I would you see, this one's determined he's going to knock my coffee over. Yeah, I like the bribery of having the new books that I'm really dying to read as well to get through. But no, man, this is why dogs sometimes are better. Okay. Now I'm full of coffee. Yeah, so I would like to get through that. Let's just put this down. At least he's not mooning you. Or at least get a good way through that. Then I've got my other TBR pile, which are the books that I had by the 1st of January, well, the 31st of December last year. And that pile is at 136. So reducing that one would also be nice. And yeah, I don't need to read any of them. I mean, technically I could give all these books away and, I don't know, take up the life of a suntanner, a gardener. Well, I do that already, gardening, not suntanning. I'm allergic to the sunshine. Yeah, so we're going to leave that there, and I'm going to tag 3 people that I don't think have done it, or at least hadn't done it by the time I was looking for this information. So the first person I'm going to tag is Jen at Remembered Reads, because I think Jen is finding her reading life less freak-outable than moving, because I would freak out if I had to move. Can you imagine this? Then I'd like to tag Britta Bowler, and I would like to tag Eleanor Macredina. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that everybody has got some interesting answers to this. So if you would like to do it and I haven't tagged you, or if you are one of my subscribers and you don't have a channel, you're more than welcome to answer the questions down below as well, because I'm interested in hearing about your reading too. Anyway, until my next tag video, which I was going to film straight afterwards, but now I'm going to have to go and wash my hands because I'm full of coffee, as is my scarf and my pajamas, which I am wearing. I'll see you just now, Booktube. Bye.